at the White House. It will be an interesting morning there, to say the least, Ed.
Absolutely, John. It's been an interesting week. 4 days of controversy surrounding this Helsinki meeting that was widely panned as something of a failure for this White House. And now, every day since then, it has been a new, fresh controversy. President Trump now says he believes the intelligence community's assessment that Russia did meddle in the 2016 election. But now he's inviting Vladimir Putin here to Washington. That will be the first time that the Russian leader has been in the United States in almost a decade. And President Trump today has nothing public on his schedule other than his intelligence briefing. He's only scheduled to head out to Bedminster, New Jersey, where he's going to his golf resort today. We'll see if he answers questions from reporters about all of this controversy surrounding his meeting with Putin on Monday. But the Russian ambassador to the United States is also announcing that there will be another American delegation headed to Russia, although he didn't say which lawmakers would be going on that trip as well. But in general, John and Allison, it seems very much like the Russians are the ones driving the narrative around this meeting and around all of these topics related to President Putin's interactions with President Trump.
All right, Abby, Phillip at the White House. Thanks.
What's the latest, Abby?
Well, good morning, Allison. This morning we are learning more about why the administration is just now starting to look into this issue of security clearances for former officials. A senior administration official tells CNN that President Trump is pretty happy with the way that this is playing out and is not in any hurry to make a decision. Why? Because he sees it as another way to go after former Obama administration officials and the deep state. And President Trump this morning is heading to Kansas City, where he's going to be speaking before the Veterans of Foreign Affairs. But this is happening at a time when he's facing a lot of questions, not only about this issue, whether he's using his office for political retribution, but also a series of foreign policy issues. Iran, North Korea, also Russia, and that meeting with Vladimir Putin top of mind this morning. Allison and John.
All right, Abby, Phillip for us.
Phillip, she is live at the White House. Abby, good morning.
Well, good morning, David. Just another weekend, again, of attacks on the Robert Mueller's special counsel investigation. This time, the president calling him out by name in a series of tweets. But the president and his allies are also intensifying their attacks on the president's former personal lawyer, Michael Cohen, who has signaled a willingness to talk to investigators in a different case. And President Trump is going to have a press conference with the Italian Prime Minister this afternoon at the White House today. He'll also have another Oval Office photo spray where last week a CNN reporter tried to ask him some questions in that venue, and then the White House attempted to retaliate against her. We'll see if once again they try to do something similar again today, David and Allison.
Okay, Abby, thank you very much for starting.
Busy morning. Let's begin with CNN's Abby Phillip. She's live at the White House this morning. Abby, good morning.
Good morning, David. Well, Rudy Giuliani, the president's lawyer, went on television yesterday in an effort to help defend his client, but his statements actually might have created more confusion, leaving some White House aides more than a little bit confused. So we will see what today brings in terms of whether Rudy Giuliani will go back on the airwaves trying to clarify even more of his statements. Meanwhile, President Trump is going to head to Tampa Bay, Florida today for a workforce development event followed by a campaign rally. Allison and David.
Abby, thank you so much for explaining. New Jersey, what's the latest there, Abby?
Well, good morning, Allison. President Trump growing increasingly agitated about the Mueller probe and lashing out over the weekend, both at campaign rallies and on Twitter. This weekend, he tweeted in the clearest terms that we've seen him use yet that the meeting at Trump Tower was about getting dirt on his political opponent. He said to accept political help from foreign entities in a campaign. And we've also reported this weekend that a source close to the White House is saying that President Trump is growing increasingly worried that Mueller is encroaching on his family, particularly Donald Trump Jr., his son, who was at the center of that infamous Trump Tower meeting in 2016. Now, a source close to Don Jr. says he's not worried about this meeting at all, and that he says he did nothing wrong. But we also know that this could come down to the president and his son's word against his personal attorneys, Michael Cohen, who has said that he is willing to testify to Bob Mueller that the president knew in advance about this Trump Tower meeting. Now, meanwhile, all of this is happening while the president is here in Bedminster, New Jersey. He's at his golf course for a working vacation for about 11 days. We are looking to see if the president's attorney, Rudy Giuliani, will make his way here to New Jersey. They're just still deliberating about this issue of the interview with Robert Mueller and whether or not they do that. As they deliberate with that, we're expecting perhaps to see a response from the Mueller team to the Trump attorneys this week at some point. John.
All right, Abby, Phillip for us in Berkeley Heights, New Jersey. Abby, thanks so much.
Live near Bedminster, New Jersey. Abby, good morning.
Well, good morning, Erica. We have the latest in the back and forth, the volleying between President Trump's legal team and Robert Mueller's special counsel investigators. Rudy Giuliani, the president's attorney, is saying he has sent back what he calls a good faith attempt to reach an agreement with Mueller over a sit-down interview with President Trump. But the two sides don't seem to be getting a whole lot more close to each other on the central issue of whether the president is questioned about obstruction of justice. Here's what the both sides are really dealing with right now. The special counsel investigators say they want to sit down with President Trump. They want to ask him about potentially giving false answers to investigators. Listen to how Giuliani explained it.
The reality